It is often mentioned that perfectionism is one of the enemies of actually accomplishing something. But it is also true that it's kind of part of someone's personality, and it's very hard to escape that. So if you're prone to perfectionism, then it's hard to get out of this mode and do something in a different way. So is it possible to get out of this or not? As most things in life, this is not a binary thing. So there are degrees of perfectionism. You can be extremely obsessed with perfection, and on the other hand, we find people who are just sloppy and they don't care. And if you find that striving for perfection is something that gets in your way of accomplishing something, then maybe you're on this end of the spectrum. And then maybe you can make a few adjustments to move yourself a little bit further away from that end. So you still care about the quality of your work, but it doesn't stop you from actually finishing something. And in this case, I'm primarily thinking about publishing. So you work on a paper or a dissertation for many months or even years without ever reaching that point where you say, okay, it's done, I'm happy with it, and I can turn it in. Obviously, this is not a very good place to be in because you want to finish things, you want to move on to the next project, and you want to get recognized for what you have done already. And the usual argument in favor of not finishing something is that it's not good enough. There's still things you can improve on and so forth. And this is probably true, or in most cases true. There's always something you can improve, and whatever you write, it's never going to be perfect. But you have to acknowledge this. You have to understand that it is never going to be perfect. So if you realize that you're someone who is obsessing about trying to create a perfect thing, then maybe you should watch out for this. One of the easiest ways for you to avoid this is to rely on someone else, say your supervisor. So when it comes to assessing the quality of your work or how finished it is, I think you should rely on the opinion of your supervisor. If she says that this is good enough, then I think you should roll with it. I don't think you should make this decision yourself, especially if it gets in the way of your progress. So in a sense, you should delegate this judgment, ask your supervisor or maybe a couple of friends whether they think this is good enough. And if they think it is, override your own opinion to keep working on it. Of course, you don't want to go into the other extreme and produce something that is just not good. Quality of your research and your publication should always be one of your main concerns. But you also have to be able to finish things, publish them, and move on to the next project. And one of the key things here is to understand that you're never going to be able to produce something that's perfect. Perfect, after all, is very subjective. So if you submit your article to a journal and you get back a review which is extremely negative and the other one that is positive, well, it's the same article, but there are two different views. And so even if you produce something that is near perfect, somebody might find problems with it because they don't agree with what you're saying, or maybe because they want to prove themselves to somebody. So just to summarize, if perfectionism gets in your way of producing and finishing something, then delegate the judgment on whether something is good enough for you to publish to someone else. And as I said, the ideal person is your supervisor or a senior colleague. But on the other hand, don't go too far in the other direction and don't compromise on quality. Okay, I hope this was useful. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear if you have experienced similar problems and how you got over them. What was the solution? What was the most important thing or adjustment that enabled you to move forward? Thank you for watching and see you next time.